What did you just run straight down the stairs for, Nova? Eh? What are you getting giddy about? You want to go out for a walk? Take you out for a walk in a minute. Hey. Oh no. Yeah. Dogs can't not get walked just because I'm doing a bloody YouTube video. So I've just watched the video back and a couple of things. Made a couple of notes. This is a rough edit video. This. First of all, it is 11:15 at night, so I filmed and edited the video for you because I know there's a few people wanting this. So please show me some love and give me a comment and just say thanks. Secondly, I don't think I made it very clear, but the DC-DC charger, the cables, and the fastening bolts and everything are all included with the price. Another thing I didn't mention is that all our existing stock of the Clayton LPSs have all been recoded. And with that, I mean the Clayton LPS will need to have the updated software. It effectively gives you the option to tell the unit, so you go through to the menu, go into, I think it's general, and then you can turn on the option for the extension battery. You actually get another feature with that software update, so you can then automatically have your Clayton turn on the 230 volt or turn on the 12 volt when you start your engine. So that's another added little feature of this little software update. We've had all our existing stock of Clayton LPSs coded, so they're all ready. And existing customers just get in touch with me and then we'll arrange for the software to be updated. It only takes 5 minutes. I've had mine done. And what we'll do is we'll work out whether we get a few of you to come to us on a set day, or whether we, if there's a few of you that you're in Scotland or whatever, we'll kind of sort the logistics out. Into the video. It's a rough edit. I think you can hear my stomach grumbling halfway through it, but yeah, here we go. The batteries are finally in stock. The plan was to get everything installed in my vehicle and then do a video so I could sort of explain how everything was working. A fly's just landed on your hand. Have you just spotted that? You just trying to hold still. Yeah, the plan was to get this installed in my van and then sort of test it out and then do a bit of an unboxing and a wiring video. But the way it's turned out, we have actually installed this into a customer's vehicle already, which is an Adria 680. Quickly looks at the internet. Yeah, the Adria 680 Twin Max, and it was a tricky install. I'll hopefully do a bit of an interview with David, the customer that had that installed. Amazing, beautiful camper van, but with existing camper vans, it's always a bit tricky, sort of trying to take some of the units apart and things like that, which we did, and it's gone in great. So he's got the Clayton unit on one side of his vehicle and the battery on the other, and then we've wired that all in with some additional solar panels and then wired that into his existing electrical system. So we've removed the two lead batteries that were in that van and put that in. It's good. I'm getting feedback off David. He's just been using it, sort of sussing out how different things are working. So that's been really good. So yeah, I'm just going to keep this dead simple. Just do a bit of an box opening video and then go through what's inside and then just run through a quick explanation of how you will wire this in if you've not got a supercharger. And then the one with the supercharger, I've just been given the schematic on that, so I think that'll be for a separate video. A few sort of surprises. I thought the DC-DC part element of this would be within the battery itself, but it's not. There's a separate DC-DC converter. So just to be clear, if you just have the LPS and don't have the existing supercharger, you will also need this DC-DC converter, which looks exactly like a supercharger. If you have just an LPS without the supercharger, you will still need this. So effectively, this DC-DC converter sits between the battery and the LPS. I'll get into the details. I'll show you. It'll make more sense in a minute on the wiring diagram. But yeah, there's a few little sort of things that I didn't quite expect. So yeah, we've got the battery. I've got the 280 amp hour battery. We've got e-bikes now, which we've loved using. I'll do some content on that. It's been quite funny. We've not been into biking, or we've not had mountain bikes for a long time, and all of a sudden we've got these e-bikes, and yeah, you get a lot of range on them. We went out for a ride. Donnie's just slow. Donnie doesn't like my YouTube stuff, he's sloped off. Anyway, I'll keep on point, but yeah, we've got e-bikes now, and it's been loads of fun. We've got a holiday come up in September, and I want to kind of get the van kitted out with the extra power. The reality is I don't think you need it. I think the existing 3000, if you've got e-bikes, is plenty. It'll charge up and you can charge whilst you're actually driving. You'll have seen on some of my videos that I've done utilising the electricity and the additional power to charge your hot water whilst you're driving. So yeah, so that's the first thing to mention. You now have a DC-DC charger that sits in between the LPS and the battery. So you get safety instructions, some wiring, and a little packet of screws. Same sort of packaging as the LPS. And then to get it out, did it. So yeah, the first thing I notice is the weight. It's 28 kilograms, so it's quite heavy. And then on the front, so it's the same sort of material as on the LPS. You've got first thing you notice is you've got the plus and minus there, on-off button, lights showing you 5 LEDs. You've got 2 data connections at the bottom, so they're like the M12 connectors, like what you get on the Clayton. And then you've got a wake up terminal as well, and in the packet, so that'll go on there. And then in the packet you've got a CF8 style fuse, like a bit of a plastic spacer, washer on your nut and everything. Now there's only one nut. I don't know if that's a mistake or not. I'll check the rest of the pack. And then in here you've got data cables together. So we've got 2 M12 connectors, another 2 M12 connectors, all pre-wired, and this is the wake up connector. So that's like your D plus or ignition live on the Clayton. And then we've got these, which will go into those little grooves there. So yeah, they'll go into there. There's 4 of them, which is quite neat. So I was expecting the same as the Clayton, where you've got the sort of front bracket, but you've got these, so you've got four of those. That's again not what I was expecting, but that's what you get. So yeah, on the front, as I say, on off, and then on the back there is, I was just looking at the instructions, a pressure valve, and then you've just got the information on the back of the unit. So yeah, it's kind of, as I say, I'd sort of seen one of these when I was putting it in David's vehicle and customer's vehicle. It's kind of like a little bit of sealing going on round here, which sort of seals it to this aluminium casing. Turning it on, just literally press on like that, and then to turn it off, I think you just hold. Yeah. And then in the DC-DC converter box, you've got instructions, you've got the DC converter itself, so that just basically is a supercharger. It's got a different product code on the bottom there actually. Buying a number of things off us when you get the supercharger as well, the way to tell it apart is that this will say LPS extension on it, so that's the bit that sort of sits in the middle. And then in here you've got another 2 M12 connectors, and then you've got the sort of right angle lugs, 3 of them, and then a series of like bolts, screws, what have you. It says that between the positive here and the positive on your LPS you should have a 60 amp fuse. However, in the pack you have one of these little things. Now there's a set way to wire these up. Just had a quick look online, and the way you would want to do it, I'll just kind of crudely show you. Sorry, this lug is making contact with this fuse, and then this is then making contact with the actual battery itself. So that would go like that, but that lug would sit in that hole, but that lug's not big enough. So that's one thing I've spotted straight away. Now, you don't necessarily need to use this, and as I say, it stipulates 60 watts, but the one in the pack is 150 amps, so I'll double check that and I'll stick it in the comments. So that's the order in which that would go on. And then the other helpful thing I could do is go through this. The cable that you get in the pack, blue cable, which is your wake up cable, and then you've got orange at the other end. So get the cable with the blue wake up cable on it and the M12 connector. That will go onto here. So that would go onto there. This wake up connector would go. The middle one, so you've got the other end which has got the orange connector sort of coming off, and then you've got this other one in the middle. So if you think of it like that, it'll be a lot easier. And then you put that onto this data connector. So that'd go onto this DC-DC charger that comes with the kit. And then on this side of it, you've got two, and one will go in the front of the LPS and the other will go in the back. Now, which is fucking which? Pin 2. Now just check through the instructions. This one with the grey wire and the orange wire will go into the back of your LPS, and then this with the single wire will go into the front of your LPS. So yeah, so if we've got these and you had your LPS and that was the front, you would have this orange one with the thin wire going to the front, and then that to the back. And then that would be your data connections made. So yeah, that's one helpful thing that I can do in terms of talking you through it. Now, the other thing I've noticed, just being typical me and wanting to pull everything apart, is that the M12 connectors are different. So if you remember with the Clayton, there's these kind of little screws that you kind of screw in. They're now like the sort of Wago style pushing connectors. Yeah, so they're sort of those. It was in there. Yeah, and these have got, even though they've got the colours, you need to be looking at the numbers. So the numbers are the ones directly next to it. So you've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So this top one, which used to be like the middle. Yeah. So yeah, they had a few little changes. Now, what could be handy is this is like the data cable that I had sort of left over from I think this was the T6.1 install that we did. So it might be handy depending on where you want to actually place your add-on battery. If it's close by, pretty much this kit's going to be sorted for you because it's nice and near. If you wanted to put them a bit further apart, you might want to have hoped that you've got some more of this cable, order some in. Again, if you've not got the supercharger, the wiring's pretty straightforward. So this is the DC-DC that comes with the additional battery. So that's sort of, imagine that just sitting in the middle. You've got your positive in coming out, and then you'd have a fuse, it's stating 60 amp fuse, and then that'd go into your battery. Now the fuse that they supply might negate that, but they are stating 60 amp, so I'll double check that and put it in the comments. And then your ground will just come out and then go into the DC out on your LPS, and you'll have another one coming out and then go into the negative on the add-on battery. And then from the positive out on this DC-DC charger will come off and then be fused and then go into your positive DC out. And that's pretty much it. So from a cabling point of view, that's it in terms of getting them connected. And then just to explain the data connections, this is your front and back of your LPS. So this is the orange wire going from the front to the back. And then you'd have your thicker grey wire, which is splined together. and goes through to the DC-DC charger. And then again, you've got your thicker grey one going through to the front of your additional battery. And then you'll have this kind of blue one coming off and going to your wake up. If you've just got the LPS without the supercharger, it's pretty straightforward. And what I'll do for a separate video, I'll go through my installation, because I've got the existing supercharger, which is a total different kettle of fish. It works differently. So at the moment, if you've not got the supercharger, is that it just kind of draws power in to the main LPS, and then it sort of pushes power out to the battery, or the battery pulls power out of the LPS. And that's the way the charging works for everything. Now, if you've got the supercharger, it's a bit different. So I've been sent a schematic coming from the battery, which would have a fuse, and then going to the supercharger. So this is supercharger. This is the DC-DC, which comes with the additional battery. So your supercharger would come from your battery into this, and then the other positive would go out and in to the positive on your add-on battery, and then your negative would obviously just go to to a bus bar or to the body of your vehicle. And the other lining comes in and then goes into your Clayton. So effectively, you've got the supercharger pulling power and this at the same time. Now, what we've noticed with the customer's vehicle is that the supercharger tends to be working most of the time now, whereas originally the supercharger would only kick in below 29%. And it's obviously because it's then pulling power, pushing it into the add-on battery, and then also pulling power and putting it into the LPS. Now, what the rules are on that, I don't know yet. I'll kind of dig and find out on that a little bit. And then you've got your DC out coming down and into this DC-DC, and then you've got your other positive coming out, and then again going into the positive on the additional battery. So there's a little bit more involved. And then for your data cables, you've got your ignition live going through now to the supercharger, and then you've got another ignition live coming down and then going into the LPS like it normally would. Originally, the ignition live was coming from the Clayton. Now it's going to go directly to your ignition live here. So that's an interesting spot. And then on the data connection here, you've got just it coming out of the DC-DC charger, then splined, and then going into the back of the LPS, and then coming down and interestingly just going to the wake up connection, not the data. So there's no data connection on here if you've got the supercharger. So I will double check this with Clayton, and I'll obviously put it in my van and run through everything, and I'll let you know. So now, a thing I've spotted is in this schematic it talks about pins and colours, but the colour is just for reference on here. It doesn't relate to the inside of these C12 connections. And what I mean by that is, if you have a look here, KT expert camera lady, like I was saying before about you've got these colours on here, this kind of needs ignoring really, because none of these colours on these schematics are relating to the colours on here. It's just kind of giving you a bit of there's a yellow wire, there's a blue wire, so you can kind of see where things are at on the schematic. This is when it talks about pin 2, pin 1, pin 2, you need to look at the numbers on the inside of there. I'll do a more detailed video on my install and sort of a bit of a dumbed down wiring diagram. David, the customer who's the first one who's had this installed, actually got the Truma air conditioner on top of his van, and he's been running that off grid. He used it for 4 hours the other day, so we kind of like, Dave's our guinea pig, is like reporting back into me, because I've just been asking him how the the DC and supercharger has been working, and just keeping an eye on like how does it run hot, does it run cool, things like that. So yeah, apologies if this is, I don't know if this is too much information, too little information. Let me know. I'm really not in the mood tonight. I'm really tired. I've got loads on, but I just wanted to do you a video as quickly as possible so I could kind of keep everybody in the loop. If you've got any other questions, fire them in the comments below, and I'll keep an eye on things and try and answer them. This might be a very rough edit by the time this video gets out. There's some really interesting stuff coming out. I've got part 2 of the lightweight build with John. I went back and seen him and looked at the van. Bloody brilliant. I've had news off him as well in terms of whether he did or didn't make it, which is, you'll have to wait to watch the video to find out. And I've also been to one of my customers, van builders, Roma World, and went and did a bit of an interview with them, which was brilliant. Again, just sort of seeing their setup. I do love going and seeing other sort of like van builders. And then also, if you've got a MAN, TGE, Crafter or Grand Cali, I've just done a video because we've just changed the pads on front and rear. So I've got a bit of a idiot's guide to changing your pads on that vehicle if you've got it. Feel free to just give me a bell anytime, night or day. I've had loads of people phone me up and asking me questions before they move forward. Same with sort of after service. If anyone's getting stuck or is in the middle of sort of installing, help loads of people out. Price wise, we're really good. Just give us a shout. We'll always look after you. That's it. Thanks for watching. Did I waffle then? I just waffled, didn't I? Just waffle.